All right, how's it going, everybody? Another episode of Growth by Shawn podcast. I have a special guest today, my new friend Austin Linney. So I found Austin through Brian, who's also been on the podcast. So if you listen to that podcast, you're really going to like this one. So Austin, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. I'm super pumped about this one. So there's a million. I feel like there's a million different ways that I could introduce Austin as a real estate entrepreneur, um, mindset coach, but he also has his own podcast, Construct Your Life podcast. He has the Brain Dub podcast. But I feel like listening to Austin, there's just so much more to him than just what he puts out. So Austin, I would love to just hear a little bit about kind of your story and where you started and where you're at now. It can be as brief of a synopsis as you want to give us here.
Yeah, stories are interesting. There's the story that happened, and there's the story I told myself, and then there's the story that I justified. Right? There's three levels of the story. On the surface, my dad was, a very successful dentist. As I grew up, we started moving in bigger houses, living across the street from basketball players. You're in these neighborhoods, on these communities and stuff, and everything's supposed to be going good. But school never really did anything for me. It didn't challenge me. I had a photographic memory. It didn't intrigue me. I was at a really hard public school, probably like one of the top ones in Texas, and all the families were like super wealthy, but they were so unhappy. Like everybody was so unhappy, like just not, you could just feel it, right? I'm an empath. Yeah. And I was getting in a lot of trouble at school. My parents decided that I should go to military school, or I needed to like move to Beaumont, which is like, I didn't know what Beaumont meant. I was like, is that a town? Like, where are we going? I had like 4,000 kids at my school. So I decided to go to Beaumont. We move out there, and like a month into it, my parents are like, oh, we're getting a divorce. And I'm like, what? Like, you'd never fought. And then, so the only conclusion that I could make to myself was that I was the reason that they got divorced. Right. So here it is. I'm the reason my parents got divorced. I'm the reason that ruined my family, all these things. Right. And so I then got a job in the restaurant business, and the restaurant business at that time, was pretty heavy into drugs and alcohol. And, you're beating yourself up for your parents' divorce. You're saying, that you're the reason they got divorced. And, I found cocaine, and then I found meth, and then the simple, anybody that's taken Adderall, that's ADD, Adderall is basically illegal meth if you really want to get down to the thing. So the scary thing is that it actually helped me focus. That's the weird thing. It locked me in. And so the casual use on a Friday, Saturday turns into Monday, Tuesday, turns into Wednesday, and it kind of spirals from there. And my breaking point with the hard drugs was I spent 8 days straight up, and I couldn't go to bed, and it was a whole thing. I lost a bunch of weight. I wasn't eating. And so I knew that I needed to change, and I decided that I need to move away. And so I packed up my shit and I left. And that was kind of my decision to walk away from cocaine and meth. But there's this other drug, and it's called alcohol. And it's very acceptable, especially when you sell wine for a living, you make drinks for a living. It's just kind of your lifestyle. And, I was still working 8 hours a week. I was still doing everything I needed to do. But for the better part of 18 plus years, I was a functioning alcoholic, not to a point of passing out all the time, but just drinking, every day. I think I went 10 years straight with drinking, having a drink every day. And you're justifying it with how much you're working. You're saying, okay, it's fine. You're not looking at yourself in the mirror because you're way overweight, you're eating bad food, all these things. And 3.5 months ago, or 3.5 years ago, I got around in a mastermind. I got around some dudes that were way bigger than I, really big, big Airbnbs, multifamily businesses. And I knew I always wanted to be there, but I couldn't figure out how to get there. And so when I finally joined that group, I started a business with a couple guys that were sober, and they were my age. They were 9 months and 13 months sober. And it was amazing to see functioning humans that didn't drink, that were like out of what I've been through. And like, I know that sounds like asinine to say, but like, I was in the restaurant business. Like, that's what we did. We drank. I came up with drinks for a living. That's my fucking job. And so, and so I began trying to get sober, and I made it like 28 days, and I had a drink and I was so upset. And I waited like 30 days and I said, give it one more shot. But like, mind you, I'm still the bar manager at this time, but like, I've been doing it for so long that I was just ready to be done. And so like, literally I was creating drinks by smell. Like, that's how I wasn't drinking, right? Like, so I was just coming up with concoctions by smell, and I'd have somebody taste it and they'd be like, oh, it's amazing. So I'm literally serving alcohol and not drinking. So I wouldn't say this is the best plan for most people, but for whatever reason, I was good. And, you know, here we are, you know, 3.5 years later, and I've lost 80 pounds, and started 2 podcasts, got divorced, got laid off. So it hasn't been all roses, but, you know, I will say that making that decision changed my entire life. And the scary thing is that I didn't share about my story for a long time, because I didn't go to AA, and I thought you had to go to AA. And when I started sharing my story, I realized that a lot of other people quit cold turkey too. And it's been amazing. And so the question that you have to ask yourself is, if I spent 20 years doing it the wrong way and only 3 years doing it the right way, what is it going to look like in 20 years when I do it the right way? Like, you know, like I'm re-engaged. We have like 6 businesses that, you know, we've done, the podcast will be 2 years in like 5 days, you know, 400 episodes. Like, you know, it's just like, it's been a wild ride. And I think I did a podcast the other day with some guys that I really respect that run a military group, a big real estate community in the military. And I've had 6 people text me in the last 2 days like, hey man, like, thank you. Like, I'm going through the same thing. I'm in the military. Like, I really appreciate you being vulnerable. And so now you just have to share your story. You just have to, like, your story has weight, share it, own it. And then once you own it, it doesn't control you anymore.
Wow. So I really appreciate you just being able to share something like this. Like I was kind of taught to share the scars, but not the wound. I think that's the phrase. Maybe it's not the phrase.
Well, you might as well. Where are you from?
Massachusetts.
Okay, I thought so. So let's say share the scars, but not the bodies. Probably is more Massachusetts.
Okay.
No, I just making that up. But that sounds like
I know that there's a quote of something, but I'm butchering it a little bit. But so when was that turning point for you, of that you decided that you wanted to kind of share your story and knew it might be impactful to help someone else?
You know, think of like goals and dreams and like things that you want to do as like a ceiling. And what I mean by that is like, you know what you want. Like, the mind knows that it can go bigger, but like, you're just keep beating yourself up against the ceiling. You're just I don't know, like, and then when you I don't believe this, it's to be true. When you expand what's possible, when you get around other people and they show you what's possible, there's no turning back. Like, when you interview a guy who made $4.5 billion and he's like, oh yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. And we kind of failed company, and then boom, we hit. And he's like, for 20 years, I was just treading water. Like, to hear that and go, okay. And I think the biggest thing that needs to be debunked right now for anybody that's listening to this is nobody has it figured out. Nobody has it figured out. And when you get in rooms, you know, I'm in rooms with guys who make 30, you know, they're worth $30 million and $100 million. They're just like you and I. They have insecurities. They have no idea what they're doing. They're just figuring it out. They just don't allow the fear to succumb them. They use it as fuel.
Okay. Now, was there like a turning point for you that you started to say, hey, you know what? I have all this fear. I have all this negative energy. and I can start to use it as something positive?
Mhm.
Was it
I told myself, I said, what if? I said, what if
okay?
it all works out?
Okay.
I said, what if you try? What if you just take, what if you take like massive action and you just like
Mm,
learn from doing? And then like over time, like, you know, because I realized very simple what it was. It was that I had stopped and started about 700 things in my life. And it was all those broken promises I had to myself, not what other people did to me. And I had no confidence. So what I started doing is I started getting in the gym, and I used health as like a springboard, and I kept keeping those small wins to myself. And I understood that consistency is the mother of all superpowers.
mm,
Like if it's not about what you're doing, it's about the act that you're doing it. And so I just kept like, okay, if I went 7 days in the gym, like could I load up for another 7 days? And I just kept doing it and kept doing it, kept doing it. And I started winning that way. And it started shifting my mind, and it started keeping promises to myself, and the confidence started raising and raising. Like this is there's a construction, there's a rewiring of the brain to change the narrative to I am a person that starts something and finishes it, and understanding that it's not the results you're getting from the thing, it's that you started it and you finished it. And so that is very powerful more over the results. And so one of my favorite quotes is, you have to be married to the process and divorced from the results,
okay.
because the results don't matter. It's the process, it's who you're becoming in the process. That's the only thing that actually matters. Because if you told me today that you said, my goal is to be a millionaire, okay, that's the goal. You get to $1 million, you're going to stop?
Mm,
No, you're not. So then that's not the actual goal.
yeah. So I would love to kind of hear your thoughts on this. Where do you think most people go wrong with, or what holds them back from just taking that action?
Their own belief. So there's an amazing author and coach who wrote a bunch of books called Dan Sullivan, and he's got a book called The Four C's. And so here's the difference that everybody has wrong. They're waiting around for the confidence to come, and that's
Mhm.
not the way it works. The four C's are commitment, courage, capacity, confidence. And how that works is you commit to the thing. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to start a new business. I'm going to work out 15 minutes a day. When you commit to it, then the rush of courage comes on. When the courage comes on, then you have the courage to act on it. Well, when you act on it, you get the capacity and the skills to do it. Then the confidence comes, not the other
Oh,
way around.
I see. So is that like do you think that's just what like motivation is? That like
Mhm.
little spark of just, okay, I'm really confident in this moment, but then in another moment when I'm not so confident, I still have to kind of just commit to it. Do you
Well,
think that's
think about it this way. Like, why do people think that confidence and like energy and all that stuff is going to be around forever? There's no chance. It can't. It's not a sustainable energy. It's a spark of energy, but like your need to think that it's going to be around forever is like the problem. Like the moments that you don't want to, the moment that you still go do the workout, the moment that you sign up to the thing that you committed to and you still do it, that's the stuff you're gaining. And understand that like a lot of people's issues they're operating on a short-term viewpoint, like transactional. Like, dude, I'm building a company right now that has a 50-year horizon. Like, who can fuck with me? You can't fuck with me. Like, seriously, it's a legacy project.
yeah.
Like, you can't mess with me because we're in no rush. And so my questions are, do you have a goal that sparks you today?
Mhm.
Do you have a goal that sparks you for 6 months from now? And do you have a goal that sparks you 10 years from now? You
Okay.
got to have the short term, you got the short term wins, medium thing to keep you running, and then the big goal to push you in the days that you don't want to.
So has the goal for you always been like real estate or helping others
No,
through
I'm
no?
only in one business. It's very
Okay.
simple. I'm in the people business.
Okay.
I'm in the people business. That's it.
Mm,
Inspiring, cultivating, adding on, creating jobs. The business that we're in is meaningless. It doesn't
mm,
matter because we're not operating on that framework. We're operating on values. And so we're going to take our business model, and real estate is one vehicle, but we're
mhm.
also looking in development, and we're also buying businesses, and we're also in the sales business, and we're also in the coaching business, and we're also in the NFTs. Like it's all relative because we're in the I seek talent and then I cultivate them and give them the support they need to be the best version of themselves. That's it.
I see.
And you know what I'm saying? So like what business are you,
Yeah.
what's your job?
So right now I do online coaching, and then I'm not really sure what else I want to do.
Who's your like typical client, like your avatar?
For the most part, someone that kind of struggles with like going back and forth with diets, like yo-yo diets.
Okay. Okay. And do you have a plan in place for them to kind of like lay the groundwork to build a foundation to like start the new plan?
So like I'll always have them do like an intake form of some sort to kind of see like their dieting history. And then I want to know if they're like mentally ready to even start a diet.
Well, let me ask you a question. What do you think the percentage of people that actually have spent time digesting your intake form, meaning that they've ever actually written that down besides?
Probably not a lot.
There you go. There you go. It's all up here. We have to get it down on paper. We have to see the vision. You don't want to know when I got my business idea? True story. I got it during a massage. And I asked the masseuse to stop, and I wrote the plan down on a whiteboard. Like, you know, it's because like the moment is like I hadn't, like if I would have just let it slide and not write it down, I would have not held on to it. And so like, you know, when's the last time you wrote your goals down? When's the last time you saw what you ate? When's the last time, you know, because it's really easy to forget about it. So like, when's the last time? So instead of cowering and saying, I just don't know how I'm going to, how about you put a plan in place to say how you can, right? And so, you know, just to kind of like change people's mindsets, like the book, and even though it's real estate related, it doesn't matter, it's mindset related, is Rich Dad Poor Dad, you know, changed my life at 17 years old. And it talks about getting out of being a worker and how to like make money work for you. And so like those mindset shifts like that, you know, but I think if I had to venture to guess, and this is just my personal opinion, the most powerful book, I bought 70 copies for like anybody I run into. It's What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. And it's a book about how to reprogram the words that we say to each other. That for me was the game changer, because my narrative in my head was so negative. Oh, here you go again. You're going to stop and start something. You can't do that business. You suck. You're overweight, blah, blah, blah. But reprogramming that, the mindset within the head, game changer.
I have both those books sitting right next to me. They're one on top of the
serious?
other. Yeah, dead serious.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Both of them.
Oh my God, look at this guy. Look at this guy. You're a legend, dude. That's amazing. That is wild that I called that out.
They're on my completed book list. I've got another set of books that I haven't read yet, but these are the ones I've already read, and they just happen to be sitting right next to me. So amazing. That's a good thing. That
makes me so happy, dude. It's so good. Like, because I don't want to like go over people's heads here, but like think about it this way. Your brain, so 80 to 90% of what we do is all subconscious, all of it. And so the act of drinking the drink is subconscious. Like it's I had a long day at work, I put the beer in my hand. There's nothing you can do about it. You haven't consciously thought about putting the beer in your hand. It's subconscious. And so your brain creates connections based on the fact that, you know, it wants it to be easy. And so you have to, you know, let's say you want to stop smoking cigarettes. You don't stop smoking cigarettes. You say, I am healthy. I don't smoke cigarettes, like blah, blah, blah. And you say that to yourself over and over again. And then what happens is over time, you have a cigarette in your hand and like, I don't even know why I have this. I don't smoke cigarettes. Boom, put it down. And so you can change the behavior for 30 days, right? I don't drink for 30 days. That's an easy goal. I don't drink for 30 days. But if your identity is I'm an alcoholic, it's impossible to change. So you have to reshape the way that you think about yourself first, and then you can go do the thing that you want to go do.
Now, did all like I want to go back real quick, backtrack to we're in the people business, because I even started the podcast just to hopefully help someone else, you know, no matter which podcast I have. So was that something for you that started at a young age, or was that something that was kind of developed later in life for you?
You know, I've always been somebody that could read people real well, feel how they're feeling. Like it's always been something I did. But like, I just told myself, I said, do you want to be a threat or do you want to be a value? You know, And so
Yeah.
like, that's the way we position our businesses, is like, we're the ones, like, I'm going to back up a dump truck value. I call it the dump truck of value. Like, I'm going to dump on you. Like, people are holding on to their information, like, right? I've done Airbnb for years. And so like, think about it this way. The opportunity calls for me to send you a checklist of like all the Airbnb things that took me 7 years to learn, is one click of a button.
Yeah.
But to that person that needs it, I just saved them 3 years and about $30,000.
Mm,
So for me, the opportunity cost is very low, but for them, it's everything. So then
yeah.
I become somebody that they, I'm not looking for anything in return. I don't need anything in return, but I'm helping them out. And so like, it's an amazing proposition. And so I just found it really easy to connect the right people. And then I just started doing it all the time. Right. And so, talent and mindset and people are the biggest commodity that we can get. Money's everywhere. Businesses can be started like that. And so, but having the right person to execute on your vision is everything.
So do you think, because I know that a lot changed for you when you were put into that group of people that you surrounded yourself with, that were a little bit, I don't want to say better than you at the time, but further along than you were at that moment. Um, and it almost kind of sounds to me like it's like a mentor type position to be in. So do you think it's necessary, but yeah, I'll say necessary to have kind of mentors through life and kind of pour like a monetary sign onto a mentor, or do you not think it really matters?
I'll ask you a question. You're in college, you're taking a business 101 course from Frank, who's the teacher, and yet Frank's never started a business before.
Mm.
Do you take much stock in what he's saying?
No, of course.
Okay. So mentors and coaches and everything have changed my life. Some have been paid, some haven't. Being able to be around people that have done what you've done and say, kid, don't do that. That's bad. You need to vet this partnership out. Like I've learned, I've lost more money than I've made by bad partnerships and bad deals, right? And those are just learning, because you're never losing money. You're learning or you're growing. There's no other way around it. And it's a shortcut. Getting around these groups, getting around these people, listening to the podcast. Right? Think about this. Has there ever been a time in our life where this much information is free?
No.
I mean, dude, you could literally disappear for 6 months and go on Twitter and YouTube and be a different human. Like, I'm literally watching an episode right now where the guy is worth like $300 billion, like $1 million, like teaching lessons on how to start a company. Like, it's all there. The fact of the matter is that we don't want to commit to the work. We don't want to commit to the learning. And so what I do just for shits and grins is I created a Google folder with like 700 free, like it's like 150 free resources. And anytime somebody says I can't find anything to learn, I just send it to them. I'm like, here you go. Like, it's annoying to me. Like they're just not willing to put in the work. And it's like, it's all out there available. You just have to go do it.
So do you think that people that are kind of like a little bit, I would say, lazy, do you think it comes from more of a place of they're unwilling to do the work? They're still telling themselves certain beliefs about themselves? Or even something like they just haven't found what kind of sparks them?
All the above.
All the above.
All the above. Like perfect example, Mike Rowe. Do you know who Mike Rowe is? Dirty Jobs guy.
Mm-mm.
So he had a show called Dirty Jobs.
Okay.
Basically, he had the show for forever, and it's like following people around that have like a shitty job, like cleaning the septic tank, like all this shit, like like really not great jobs. All those people are millionaires.
Oh wow.
They don't love what they do, but they have a business that makes money. Like, you're waiting around to be like inspired and sparked and all this shit. It's like, no, dude, like that does. Yes, I love what I do. Everything on my calendar is a fuck yes. But that's cultivated. I'm working with the right people. We're doing the right businesses that excite me. But I didn't like doing single family houses, but it made me money and it taught me. And so now we're doing bigger stuff. but like everybody's waiting around for this like thing to hit them or something. And like the fact of the matter is, if you continue to do the things that you always continue to do, if you continue to think the things you always continue to think, if you can continue to surround yourself with the people that you always continue to surround around yourself, you'll be exactly where the fuck you are now.
Mm.
And so with information, new people, new energy, new environment, you can create something that's better than you have right now. And understand that it's all available. The fact of the matter is you don't want to fucking work for it.
Mm.
It's very simple. Like why it's alarming to me how comfortable people are with mediocre. Like it's disheartening. It makes me want to cry. Like I'm dead serious. Like, and you know, it's like, that's not okay. And here's the deal. You don't have to have ambition for me, like me. But you can go, you know, buy 2 Airbnbs and be financially free and then go teach your kids soccer, you know, for the rest of your life. Like, I don't care, but like, do something, do something better, please.
Mm.
Like the world needs it. You need it. Everybody needs it.
Mm. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it like that. Like, in terms of people being too comfortable being mediocre. Like, do you think that's where, like, that's where a lot of things lie for people? It's just that they get comfortable doing things, they get comfortable in their environment. Do you think that we need to just push to be more uncomfortable?
Yeah, I think actually the only drug that exists is comfort.
Mm.
I think that if you look at cocaine, you look at alcohol, you look at marijuana, you look at all those things, I don't think those are drugs. I think comfort's a drug. And I just wrote a post about this like 3 days ago.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like you're too comfortable. Like we created like you got the AC, the internet's working, the Netflix account's working. Like you're too fucking comfortable. Like is this what you were put on this earth to do? Is to fucking just exist?
Mm.
Like seriously, anybody that's listening to this, like perk up your fucking ears, because I'm over it. Like, I'm not saying you got to go out and be millionaires. You do whatever the fuck you want. You know, make 70 grand a year, but be happy, smile.
Mm.
Everybody's so damn unhappy. It's like you're unhappy because you made the choices to get yourself there. There's nobody. And it's not like I'm upset or anything. Like my life is fucking amazing. I'm not worried about that, but I care about humanity enough to know that you have an opportunity to chase something that's bigger than you and chase happiness and health and all that stuff. You know, what do they say? Like, they say something like, you know, a wealthy man could want a million things, but when he loses his health, he only wants one thing, his health, you know? And it's like it starts with health. I truly believe this. Like health is the pillar, that the foundation that everything exists on. And if you create the health, then you're feeling better, you're thinking better, because I truly believe that we make most of our decisions based off of our emotions. Like you're feeling bad, you're eating bad, you don't feel good. Like how can you even know what you want? How can you even dream, right? And so I think it starts with health. If you really want to change your life, like that's where it starts.
Now, how did you start to, in a sense, just get healthy? Like, where did you kind of start?
I told myself I was going to go to the gym every day.
Okay.
Every day. I didn't put a time limit on it. I didn't say I was just going to go every day. I was going to make it a focus. And so instead of creating like a bench goal or something like that, I created a lifestyle. I was a healthy person that worked out every day and I ate healthy. That's what I told myself. And so like, I just every day. And so like, it was like 2 years ago, it was like towards the end of the year. And I was like, I got to do something. Like I got to do something that like matters, where I can like level up or head into the next year. And I started 75 hard, like October 1st. And I was going to finish up, head in the new year with momentum. And I wound up going 150 days straight.
Oh, wow.
and so like, my default setting to my habits just changed completely. And so like my standards for myself and my standards for my habits just elevated, and I haven't gone back since.
Wow. So that's crazy, because like I have mixed thoughts on 75 hard. For some people, I think it works. For some people, I think it doesn't work. Like, for someone like me, like if I, like between those 75 days, like there might be a birthday or like an occasion that I want to go out with some friends, and I don't want to have to say no to that if I know that it might just be, this is important to me, you know?
What's important to you about it? Walk me through it.
Okay, so if it was like how should I word this? If it was, let's say, my birthday, that's coming up for me.
Okay. Okay.
All right. To me, like I like to do something with my friends or with
And you need
myself.
alcohol, and you need alcohol to drink with them.
I don't need alcohol to drink to go and spend time with them. No. I
Okay.
think it could be more fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't think that I necessarily need it. Like if I'm like I plan on taking a hike um for my birthday coming up. And I'll probably go out with a friend and we'll take a hike. It'll probably be somewhere up in New Hampshire in the White Mountains. And then after that we'll probably go uh out and we'll grab a bite to eat. And then we'll
Okay.
probably have a drink with the meal.
Sounds great. I
You know,
support all
something like
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, here's where everybody gets twisted. It's a personal choice. I don't give a shit what you do. I really don't. I don't care if you yoga for 40 days straight. I don't care if you whatever. But the question is that are you creating the space where you're getting better? Like, are you focused on like, because understand this about health. You don't have to do the intensity I do, but health is a thing that never stops. That's where I don't, what are people working towards? Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. Like, are you trying to like work to like go sit on the beach? Like, that's boring as fuck. I did that shit for like 2 days. It's boring as fuck. Like, so what are you working towards? Where is this magical moment that you're going to get to that you think is going to change everything? You're already there. The moment that you decide, I'm going to ask you a question. Are you successful?
Yes and no.
No, it's not a yes or no question.
Yes.
Are you alive right now? Are you helping people do what they think?
Yes.
Okay, then you're fucking successful. It's as simple as that. But people think it's an arbitrary number. It's a thing. It's a house. It's a boat. It's a car. It's whatever. It's the biggest fallacy in fucking America. You are successful as you deem right now. In the moment that you decide it, everything else opens up for you when you own your success and you don't let somebody outside of you or external forces or social media dictate it. I own my shit. And a lot of the shit that you're seeing, you won't see for 5 years because it's massive companies. But I know that I get to wake up every day, happy, healthy, building businesses with the right people I do. And so I made a choice 2 years ago that I was successful right then, not when the money came in, right now. And too many people are letting their success be dictated by things outside of them. If your kids are happy, everything's healthy, you got a roof over your head, you got AC, you got food in the fridge, you're good. You're good. But that's not the way we look at it. We're waiting for somebody else to tell us we're successful. It's ridiculous.
So how can we start to, like, is it just conversations like this that will start to help people and show people that, hey, you can, like you have enough right now. Like you have running water, you have a toilet that works, like things like that. Like, is it just conversations like this?
It all goes back to the comfort thing. We're too comfortable. Like, as my co-host on my other podcast said, he said, the problem is there's too much good news. What does that mean? Well, what does that mean? Think about it this way. The news is only reporting bad things, but we don't talk about, like, there's so much good in the world that people don't even talk about it because it doesn't even matter anymore. Like, the sun's out, the birds are shining, there's green grass, there's water. There's so much good news that we become mute to it. And so I think when you start having gratitude for every day that I have the opportunity, you know, you sent me a message and you were like, this fucking son of a bitch is not going to respond. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I would love to go on your show. Like this conversation, having this conversation with you, I'm so fucking excited right now. This is so amazing. Like, that's how I view life. How can you not be excited about life if that's how you view it? And so it starts with the conversations we're having with ourselves, and then mainly go buy that book, What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. And I think it'll be plant the seed of everything that you need.
Do you think that are there certain like gratitude type, because I don't want to say not everyone's wired like you.
Of course, agreed.
But are there certain like practices besides like just going out and getting like how you talk to yourself, writing them down, starting to say them over and over, like a gratitude journal, things like that? Do you think those are worth it to some people?
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for you. I can't tell you what worked. I'm just telling you what worked for me. I think at
Mhm.
the end of the day, your why, your need, like if you're a parent, especially, like what is it? I ask my clients all the time, like, what is it that you would want your kids to have learned from you as they get older? And most parents say, like, I would hope that they realize they could do anything they want to do and everything. Well, why
Mhm.
wouldn't the parent take the same advice? Like there was a time that we did have dreams. And so my theory is go back to what it is that you love to do as a kid and lean into more of that.
Okay.
And here's the bigger question. Who's your favorite artist, music wise?
Um, Probably someone like Russ right now.
Okay. So that's like, I don't know much about his music, but I
Yeah.
know who he is. It's good, right?
Yeah.
Your favorite song. What's the name of your favorite song?
Uh, what they want.
Okay, what they want. Can you be upset and when you're listening to that song? Can you not shake your ass when you're listening to that song? No, you can't.
Probably not.
So put on the song and dance a little bit and
Hmm.
shift the energy and call it a day. Like every time I close a deal or a client or a big business deal, I turn on 24K Magic by Bruno Mars. Because it's just like that celebration. I'm like, dude, you're in the game, you're doing it. And like, so if you're down, if you're feeling down, like turn on some music. Try to be upset when you listen to your favorite artist. It doesn't exist.
Mm. I would love to know if you meditate at all, if
Mhm.
that's something you're
It's been
into
the
or
hardest thing for me, straight up. I
Mhm.
walk every morning, and it's
Okay.
changed my life. So, like, it's like a walking meditation, 45 minutes every morning. I've been doing it for 2.5 years, changed my entire life. It's the first thing I do. Put on my clothes, I go out for my walk, no matter what the weather. I love it. I'm obsessed. I think I'll do it the rest of my
Mm.
life. I met an 80-year-old real estate guy who had been walking for like 7 years straight. He said it changed his life. So I started doing it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you're up at 3, 4 in the morning. Like,
Yeah, I have New York clients. So,
mhm.
Monday, I got up at 4. I started at 7 and I went to 7 straight through.
Oh
So
wow.
like but I
Yeah.
front load my week. So like tomorrow I have
Mhm.
no meetings. Friday I have no meetings on purpose.
Mhm.
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, super busy, and then no meetings.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like an athlete schedule, going for the hard and then I kind of rest,
Yeah.
So that's
Is that
kind of
kind of how you make time for like your personal hobbies, or do you?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Like I think she just sent me a message. I think we're going to see a museum tomorrow. Like, like that's the whole thing. It's like, but like
Okay.
that's the way I operate because I like to go heavy in the beginning and then like kind of like have some random calls if I need anything to like clean up for the week. But that's just the way that works for me.
No, I like that schedule. That's nice.
Mhm.
Because it's interesting to see how you kind of balance that like work and life, and how like you're a busy guy, and how you don't let work kind of overtake your life.
Agreed. Like, and understanding that at the end of the day, uh, my work is my passion. So like, I'm not trying
Mm,
to leave it, right?
mm.
So like, creating something that is yours is super exciting. And I think that's why I just, I get energy from working and helping people.
Okay, that makes sense. So one of the last things that I would love to touch base on here, I was listening to one of your podcasts about um, was it psychedelics and mushrooms and things like that, and how that
Mhm.
has kind of been like a therapy to um, either you or someone that was on the podcast. Can you kind of like tell me a little bit about your like experience with that, or?
Oh man, like true story. I really had preparation uh to like share that. Like that was a big thing to me because like it's this newer thing. I was getting a divorce and I was going through this big transition. I got laid off from private equity. I started the podcast. I got divorced like all in the same 2 week span. So it was like all these like COVID happened. So it was like,
Yeah.
like all this stuff. And like,
Oh
I was
God.
like, my buddy was like, I got in the car to drive to Austin. So I lived in San Antonio. So understand that
Hmm.
it's like an hour north. So I
Hmm.
got in the car to drive to Austin. I drove to California. So I was just like, I was just like on my own. And he was like, come and do this thing with me. And so we did some psychedelics, and it just really created a space for me to like step outside myself and like make peace with a lot of what I was dealing with, a lot of like shame, a lot of my not loving myself, just a lot of like stuff that I was just living inside, these like stories that were just crushing me. Like, you're not good enough. You're a piece of shit. You'll never amount to anything. Like, you're unhealthy. Nobody loves you. Like, I was able to see that those were just stories, like just stories of what I was doing, like bad language. And so it allowed me the space to kind of like clean up that language and clean up those stories and own them and say, you know, these things did happen, but they happened for me. And I know that my trials and tribulations with drugs will allow me to help people. And so I really turned my nose around and just said, I'm going to go help people. And by helping those people, I help myself. And that's been the changing force in my life.
Wow. That's, yeah, it's very interesting when I hear someone talk about their kind of experience with it and how it's just helped them on their healing journey, I'll say, because not just like the thoughts and beliefs that we have, but I think that we have to kind of look at ourselves and look at what's happened for us and say, hey, this, just as I said it, this happened for me, not to me. And it's hard to kind of rewire that. Do you think that's what?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's heard that phrase, you know, but I think ultimately, like, understanding that, like, you know, I was strong enough to deal with the addiction and the alcohol abuse, so I could turn around and say, hey, man, I know, like, you can do better. And the thing is like this thing, right? This thing, whether it's booze or whatever it is, or like shame, whatever it is like holding you so tight. Why is it holding you so tight? It's because it's locked away in the closet, hidden behind 3 dressers and some winter coats. And you're not telling anybody, you're not sharing it with anybody. And you're thinking, if I don't talk about it, it's not going to be a big thing. But understand that because you don't talk about it, it's controlling every part of your fucking life. So here's what I do. You ready for this? When I go to an event or I'm networking, I walk up to them and I go, hi, my name's Austin Linney. I'm a former drug addict and alcoholic and divorced. Nice to meet you.
Oh, wow.
Boom. Boom. Yeah. Done. You don't owe me. It doesn't owe me. You don't owe me. And it makes that person go, well, fuck, I'm good.
Yeah. It reminds me of, I feel like we're in 8 Mile right now, and I'm listening to Eminem spit about everything that has happened to him.
I love it. No.
So,
and my hope is very simple for people. Whatever it is that you love to do, dude, if it's milking goats, if it's doing jigsaw puzzles, if it's creating businesses, if it's a coffee shop, if it's you know, training elephants. I'm just making up crazy shit on purpose. Whatever it is that you do that. Okay. And what I mean by that is it doesn't mean that it has to make you money. That's where everybody has it twisted. But it can give you energy because you love to do it. And if it gives you energy, then you'll have energy to do other things. And so the problem that most people deal with is they're not doing things that they like to do because they think that the only things they're allowed to do is things that make you money. And that's not the case.
I see. I love that, because even like for someone like me, like I'm a big hiker. Right now, hiking doesn't make me money. I just love being outside. I just love going and taking hikes. But like, I know the next day, like I might be tired that day from hiking, but the next day I'm always excited. Like I'm more excited about the day, that next day after I've done that big 8-10 mile trek up and down. And so I really like that. I think that we, like, you can go and do something that's, you could go and talk about peanut butter and jellies online at this point and make $50,000 a year somehow talking about peanut butter and jellies, you know? So, but I feel like that's a good spot for us to kind of leave off on. I feel like this is a good amount of time for the episode. I really benefit from this. I know that everyone listening to this will hopefully benefit something from it. So did you just want to share like where else we can find you, Austin?
Yeah, I think that ultimately at the end of the day, I hope everybody got some value from this. If you want to listen to any episodes, it's called Construct Your Life. It's everywhere you could ever find it. But austinlinney.com, Linney. Shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook. Happy to help anybody that got some value from this. And, how many episodes are you in, Shawn?
This is about going to be number 30 or so.
I love it. So I want to tell you something. I'm very proud of you, happy, and just super grateful that you took the chance. I know how much work a podcast is. I'm very familiar with it. And I just want to commend you on getting your story out, sharing, reaching out to people, because I know how much sometimes you're like, why am I doing it? And I've been there. I know that. I'm still there every day. And I just wanted to commend you for that.
Thank you. So I really appreciate you coming on today. But
yeah, wonderful. Guys, go out there, grab those 2 books we talked about, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. Please read them.
All right. Beautiful. Thanks, guys.